Bonini, what is the highest thing that you've seen where a lot of high performers have issues with when they come to you? This is people that are doing extremely well in their careers, in their businesses, but many of them go on a slump at some point. What is the biggest thing that you've seen?
Right, is the fact that they operate most of the time from the head.
Right.
And then from the neck downwards it's shut down. So they're very much in their heads, everything has to be logical and justified. So then it's either they present themselves in their relationships, various relationships, as emotionally inept or not emotionally available. Right, because the body is the one that then stores the emotion or expresses the emotion. So they then suppress themselves from the head down, from the neck down. So that is the number one thing. Then the second thing is them not understanding what the big deal is.
Right.
So it's often that disconnect between when they're engaging with their staff or with other people in the relationship circles that they have, where they do not get what the issue is. Because for them in their heads, this is the chronological order. This is the logical order. These are the pieces of the domino.
Right.
And they don't get why then you're not getting it.
And in most cases, we then label this as stress, right?
Yes. Well, not really labeled as stress. What happens is the body was designed to work, everything to work.
Right.
Not from one part to be dominant and the other one to be suppressed.
Yeah.
So as you continue to work like that, there are parts of the body that then gets compromised. And when they get compromised, it means that you are suppressing them, and in suppressing them, they then create a poison in the body, right? So if then you are somebody who will only express their anger perhaps when you are under the influence, what happens when you haven't had? Right? Because it's only then when you are under the influence that you're able then to burst out. Because most of the time you are in your head. Right? And then people are then surprised, how come now you want to talk about this? So what happens there is that you're not only causing damage to your liver with the alcohol, right, that you will take in copious amount within a very short space of time, but also there are different organs in our body store emotions. You don't let that frequency release to happen, detoxing to happen. Expressing our emotion is part of the detoxing process of the body and mind. So a lot of us think that the mind is the head. The mind is the emotions. The body is the body. The head is the intellect, right? So the mind is the one that is the seat of our emotions, right? And the mind doesn't have a space in it. So then the mind is actually the one that ends up being in the lead when you don't manage it.
Right.
You will then express what the mind wants, which is feeling, through behavior. So you can be a high performer who's delivering amazing results, right? Shooting the targets and whatever, but there are behavioral traits that you will have that will not be okay.
I get it. My friends, welcome. This is the TJ Tribe, and if you've never been here before, welcome. You might be wondering why we're actually talking about this conversation around the management of the head. What I've just been realizing as I've been helping many entrepreneurs is that as they are becoming their best, they forget to look after themselves. And looking after themselves, then it manifests into different things, sometimes even into just shutting down. Going to see a doctor and the doctor just says to you, you need to go home and rest. Here's some sleeping tablets. But at the TJ Tribe, we are not about just work. We like you to work. However, we also want you to look after yourself. Because we have the firm belief that if there is no product that is you are number one product, and then the business kicks in. So how best can we be looking after ourselves? There's techniques and things like that out there. Bonini, she's been able to help me in the past, and she continues to support me. And I thought that today is a conversation where we can talk about this, because this year we have said that we want to adopt the word intentional. So how best can we be intentional in looking after ourselves from a health perspective, health in the mind, health in the body, and all of those things. And that's why she's here to talk about this particular topic. So there's no good deals that we're going to be talking about today. There's no good businesses that we're going to be talking about today. We are going to be talking about you. How can you look after yourself to make sure that you can then be able to go out and be the best that you can?
Awesome.
Amazing. Welcome, Bonini.
Thank you, TJ, and hello, TJ Triumph.
Awesome stuff. So, Bonini, I see this in a lot of men. I help out families. So, in most cases in our communities, the man is the one who is in the lead in terms of running through the business. But I also see a lot of single moms that come into the tribe, and they are creating. So, firstly, they are good at their jobs. Mm-hmm. They're amazing, but they're seeing that at some point that job is not going to get them the best result that they want. So they start creating a real estate business. Mm-hmm. So in their first potentially 5 years, they're juggling the two. Yeah. Maybe actually juggling maybe 5 balls at a time. You know, the job, the parent, the partner, the real estate business. So a couple of things that they're juggling. Yeah. And I'm seeing that there's lots of people that then do amazingly well, but at some point they just, I almost want to call it, they fall hard. They crash. And within that crash, the doctors then say, you need to be on this medication, stress management, and then it takes a toll on them. They slow down, and you've been able to help me. And I wanted us to talk about that, because I do think that, especially for men don't talk about these things. That's number one. And then number two, men tend to then leave it for the very last moment. Yeah. And at that very last moment, it's very late. Yeah. So how best can we help the high performer in whatever business that they are in? You speak about the head and the body. What are some of the basic stuff that at an early stage you can start to say, maybe I've got a problem? Are there warnings? Because I'm of the view that for every big problem there was an early warning.
Absolutely, there's breadcrumbs for everything.
Hey, my friends, I'm very sorry that I have to disturb the amazing conversation that is happening. But I thought, let me just jump in here and give you a little bit of a good word of a service that I utilize, which is called Expello. You might have never heard of them before, but basically what Expello is, all of us who are here, we do property investments. And as and when we do property investments, we have properties that we have and we take insurance on that. And we also have tenants that we've got. And at some point, these tenants tend not to pay. It's a reality in our market. At a national level, they generally say around about 20% of tenants fail to pay. If they fail to pay, what is the recourse? You probably now need to evict them, isn't it? And the cost of evicting anybody, even the going through of that process, can be extremely tedious. And my friends, that's where Expello comes in. I utilize Expello myself in all my properties that I've got. The Expello company, what they basically do is that I said to myself when I was trying to explain this to my wife the other day, and I said to her, babe, Expello to us is the big brother that we pay on a monthly basis, and as and when we ever have a delinquent tenant, a tenant that is not paying, we can always call on Expello, and they will do the eviction for us. We don't need to worry about it. They'll handle all the legal fees. They will do everything in ensuring that this tenant is evicted. So my friends, I just thought that it is unfair of me not to share with you this information. So on the screen right now, it's the details of basically how you can reach out to Expello and you can claim your discount. Well, you might not be able to get the entire link because it's on the screen, but if you have to click in the description of the video, you'll be able to see the same link that is in here that says expello.link/TJ Tribe, and that's to get you your discount. So my friends, don't be caught with your pants down with your tenants and they become delinquent and you fail to evict them. Just go to Expello. But for now, let us go back to that interesting conversation that we were having. Thanks for watching.
100%. It's either we didn't see it, or we actually saw it, but we were not aware of it.
We didn't have time for it.
Oh yeah, that's the other
because
point.
Because the same as the hustle culture, we say, I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Right. That's terrible.
And those are some of the early signs, because you're awake all the time. When other people want to sleep, you're awake. You're like, sleep is for the dead.
So you know what? When I was consulting back in the days, not at the bank, before I joined the bank, the consulting firm was very much around work.
Yeah.
After hours, you need to work as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, the more you work and the more you rise up to the ladder, and I've realized this is good to a certain point, but you're going to crash at some point. But I wanted to come back, Bonini, to the early signs. What are the early signs that we can see or observe or should be aware of?
Sleep. First and small.
What about sleeping?
Your sleep will be disrupted. You feel restless.
Yeah.
Your head will be racing all the time. Your thoughts are racing.
But that's normal for an entrepreneur, though.
It shouldn't be.
Oh.
It shouldn't be. Being an entrepreneur doesn't mean that you have to be a slave, because it's supposed to have those spurts, where you born an idea, you take the idea to the market, you let the idea flow, and as it's flowing, then you're understanding the rhythm of it, and in understanding the rhythm, that's when you're meant to slow down so that you can observe and then revise. The idea is that it's not true. It's because entrepreneurship is running a business. Right?
Yeah.
So there isn't a single business that can say we are busy 365 days of the year, because then if that is the case, there will be no time for stock taking, there will be no time for revamping, there will be no time for upgrading products or developing products. So there isn't a single job that I'm aware of on this earth, as far as my understanding of life is concerned, that doesn't have the peaks and troughs.
Right. So if I'm restless in my sleep, but what about if you're like me? I go to bed at a particular time, I'm gone like a baby. The next morning, I'm up at my usual time.
Yeah.
What are the other signs that you can see? Because, for instance, when we started working together, I was sleeping well. I had no issues with sleeping.
There's a difference between sleeping and quality sleep.
Right.
You can sleep and still wake up tired. Right. When you start seeing those persons where when you wake up, you're like, fuck, it's morning already, right? Then also the type of stretch will tell you, and this is something that is so mundane and people don't actually realize. You've seen it, and we see animals doing it. Cats are actually very good at that, and dogs. First thing what they do when they wake up, they stretch. Right? That stretching, it's indicative of how deep your sleep is and how rested the body is. Because when you do that stretch, which often involves your body to extend the legs and extend the arms above your head, when you're extending the arms above your head, you're literally then allowing yourself to take in oxygen. And then the stretching is about the blood circulation coming back into the body. So you, from now on, start monitoring that, and you will see the days when you wake up like that, you should know that you've had a good sleep.
Yeah.
When you're waking up still groggy, that is not available for you, because the body hasn't restored. Right. So what is the other thing then that is also quite popular is digestive issues, right? Digestive issues come in many forms. They can come in the form of a fungus, which is gut related, skin funguses that you will have patches on your body, which is weird stuff. It's not itchy. It's can get uncomfortable, and this is when our men will suddenly then go to the doctor when it gets uncomfortable, because then it's itchy. Then you're given a topical ointment, and then you end it there. However, with any fungus related issues, it's the gut. You need to treat the gut, the root cause.
So it's an internal challenge.
It's an internal challenge. Then from other digestive issues is that then you start having intolerance towards other products, milk, gluten, etc. Your sinuses also kick in, where you have those irritation. Constipation or diarrhea are also some of the early signs of then showing that your body is predominantly more in stress mode than in rest and digest. We need both, right? Because your nervous system works on a spectrum, right? It's the fight or flight as well as the rest and digest. So the parasympathetic is the rest and digest, and the sympathetic is the fight or flight. So your fight or flight mode is meant to be automatic and kick in when you're doing work that needs focus, work that needs energy, and it should be a short spurt, like literally doing a HIIT exercise. You're going in there, and that's how the body then supports that function. We have what is called a body clock or circadian rhythm. Our circadian rhythm is what regulates which hormones should be in the body at different times of the day to support your well-being. So from 5 a.m. to 10 or 11 a.m., you're meant to be at your peak performance. Because cortisol has kicked in, adrenaline has kicked in, natural hormones that help you to push the work, right? Then between 11 and say 11 a.m. and 2 a.m., you're meant to then have easy things that you should be doing, right? Slowing down a little bit, not slowing down as in doing nothing. Perhaps you can have an update meeting on a project at that time, not creating, not solving, etc. It's just an update, having a lunch meeting, etc. So in that, because then after 2 o'clock, your cortisol level starts going down. Hence, how does that present itself? Between 12 and 4, the energy slump kicks in.
Yeah.
Where do we go? We grab a cup of coffee or Red Bull or Monster, because we need that to come back.
Right.
So you start monitoring and seeing my energy. How is my energy playing out over a 24-hour clock, right? Then you will see that if you're tired from when you wake up, right? That tells you that my energy levels are not natural.
Right. So when I started seeing you, I think my biggest challenge was more around the gut issue, yes, but then there was lots of anxiety issues. So is that also something that's common?
Yes. So let's talk about anxiety. Let's talk about anxiety and how it develops. By the way, all of the stuff that we're talking about doesn't only occur to high-performing people.
Right.
It happens to everybody, because how you function.
Yeah.
It's how your mindset is operating, right? A lazy person who's sitting at home and continuously thinking of negative thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Or wasteful thoughts, they also start injecting that biochemistry in their body, which they can also experience burnout, just like a high performer. They're forever tired.
Right.
Yes. So how do you end up having anxiety, and how do you end up having depression? This is now when we start talking about neurotransmitters, we just start talking about the hormonal balances in the body, right?
You're talking a lot of foreign words.
I know. So that's what I'm saying. I'm going to leave that and then bring it back to day-to-day talk.
Yeah.
So for you to experience anxiety is because of a particular line of thought that you follow.
Right.
You're not here. Today is the 20th of February 2024, right? What is the time?
The time is 11 o'clock.
It's 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
If then you are a person who's already thinking my next appointment,
Yeah.
you're not here.
Right.
So my next appointment then steals this moment, right?
It steals away the present moment.
Yes, it steals away the present moment. You're thinking of tomorrow, and then tomorrow then thinks of tomorrow and the next day and 20 years from now, right? Or let's not even think of tomorrow. You're already thinking, okay, how am I going to edit this?
Right.
So you're now going to start. So the minute you go like this, then the body starts thinking, not even the body actually. So you're tensing up because it's something that is not happening now. So then you start to tense up. Your vagus nerve, which is then the nerve that actually manages your state of well-being, right? And feeling grounded, feeling balanced, feeling okay, feeling good, right? Harmonious.
Yeah.
Then it sends a message to your brain to say, hey, everything is not good down here, right? Because it connects the digestive system and circulatory system and all of that. Then the brain then releases the hormones that are coming from your adrenal glands, which is adrenaline and cortisol, right? So that means you're sitting here. You have now created a biochemistry in your body that is interpreted as saying we are in danger.
Okay.
We need to fight.
Right.
We need to fly.
Okay.
Because you have brought that which is not in focus to the here and now, and it's what is meant to be done, and you know you're not doing it. So that caused us anxiety. Because now you're in a rush to finish what you're doing now because you're already thinking of the future.
So I want to be very practical here, because because you are. I've got a question here.
Cool. Let's go for it.
And this question here, Bonini, is very much around the fact that, and by the way, I've got a bit of an advantage here because remember I used to go through this process and things like that. So I also came in wanting to be very practical to Bonini, because when I was working with Bonini, she never asked me what was the problem. You know, we would work together, and I got better. I could be at my optimum, but I got better, right? So I want to give you a very practical example.
Cool.
Right, with exactly what you've just mentioned now. I could be sitting with my architect, my town planner. Let me just say I'll be sitting with my team. And my team is giving me, I'm the owner of the project. Mm-hmm. It's the business is mine. Mm-hmm. And the guys are telling me already that this is what's going to happen on the project. Yeah. And at the back of my head, as they're telling me all of these solutions, I need to be thinking a couple of steps ahead of, are we going to make money? Are we not? But do we really need what they're talking about? It's compliance. Yeah. It is required. Mm-hmm. But do we really need it? So in my head, I am processing this, and I'm already now thinking of an alternative option. And yes, I'm in the meeting, but I'm in the banking process now. and maybe I'm already worried from a banking process because I know that maybe the banks are not going to be happy with this project. And these guys are telling me I need to be doing this. So yes, I'm in the meeting. Yeah. But I've already gone there. Yeah. So that happens to me all the time. Yeah. It's like almost every meeting. Yeah. Right? How best then should I then be able to manage that? Because that's good for the business. But maybe my brains is already thinking, oh, Flip, we need to flight here, which is not right for the body. So how do I don't know whether there's a strike a balance or how best should I be able to manage that practically. What should I be doing?
Awesome. I think I love that question because it actually applies to something that you've gone through.
Yeah.
So there's 5 sets of thoughts that we embody, right? With functional thoughts, which is your to-do list.
Right.
I need to go to the bank, I need to do that, I need to do that. Then there's what is called the wasteful thoughts. The wasteful thoughts, it's you thinking, oh, why are the beds so loud? Why is this fly going here all over the place? Then we have what is called negative thoughts. Negative thoughts is then the ones which demonstrate your biases, your stereotypes.
Right.
Right. I hate it when people do this. Right? That's
right,
sort of
right.
Then there's the positive thoughts. The third positive thoughts where you're trying to see the silver lining of things.
Yeah.
And then there is the 5th thought, which is the elevated thought. So once you understand that there's these different aspects of you, remember we once did a parts integration with you to understand that there's different parts within us, right?
Yeah.
It's about noticing first which thoughts did I go into in processing this information.
Right.
Did I go into the wasteful thought or the negative thought? Your biggest enemy is these two.
Okay.
Right. So you can think of the same thing, but then try and understand and say, okay, so if we do go ahead with this compliance, what will be the implication of that on our bottom line in the next 2 years? But because you don't know how to do that as yet, bear in mind that there's different facets in which we process information. It's the physical body, it's the mind, and the intellect, right? So the mind is the seat of our emotion, right? It's the feelings. So if then I'm talking about money, and money has a historical wound inside of me, right? My body releases a feeling that connects me to the origins of this issue. Money is a trauma, right? So I now end up going into freeze mode in the physical body, right? Meaning I process it now from a stressful place. Therefore, my words will also speak either the negative or wasteful part of this narrative. It will not be about, is it possible for us to put this on a back burner or maybe run it parallel to something else? So what you need to do then to manage these two is to work on the body, right? How do we do that? We do trauma release. We need to identify, as you say, you bring in the scenario to me and we say, right, let's do a timeline on this and see where it started, right? Why is it this one particular subject matter the one in which you use to process every single thing? Can't you look at it from any other angle, which is then the positive thought, right? Or elevated thought.
Right.
So you need to look at it and say, okay, so this does exist. This is an issue that we need to deal with. Are there any other ways that we can look into it? You know that finance is an issue that needs to be dealt with. It's a given. It's a fundamental. It's a given.
Okay, we can't do without it.
You know what I mean? But then you are robbing yourself of then elevating what else is there by just sticking to it as the only thing that matters.
Right. Because
immediately when the body freezes, because now you're talking about this thing that is traumatic for you, you move away from your cognitive processing of things, of thinking, which is where you become creative, into survival. You're now thinking of survive. How will this project survive?
Right.
Yes. So we need to diffuse that trauma in the body. You bring a scenario, we work on it with timeline therapy, for example, and then you are then able then to reconstruct or reframe the original incident and how you saw it. Your perception changes, it widens. We've done perceptual change with you. The issue still exists, but you're no longer married to it.
Right.
It's no longer a roadblock. It's no longer something that you feel like, I need to think of it this way and this way alone. You have now reframed it to see, there is a yin and a yang to it. I like this part of it and I also like this part of it. You're starting to broaden your perspective. You're moving from seeing black and white and you're now seeing the gray matter in between.
So my friends, as you all know that within this business, when you are leading, obviously a lot of things are dependent on you. And obviously you have team members that are going to come through and give you some advice of this and that, some professionals that will come in and they give you this and that. But at the end of the day, you need to make the call, right? So I think one of the challenges that I had, and Bonini, you helped me with that as well, in terms of I overwhelmed my brains in trying to figure out all the solutions.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember when I had come down to your practice and we were talking about what was the issue at that particular time, and I was like, I'm struggling to understand that, is this all the solutions on the table? I'm just thinking that maybe I've missed something. Is there a possibility? And you said to me, what if you miss it? But it's not in your sphere right now, right? So I'm glad that we're having this conversation with an expert that not only has she helped me, but she's helping other people. I remember at a point, I never met who it was, because your clients generally don't meet in your practice. And you'd gone through a process with someone who was being suicidal.
Yes.
And you said to me, our appointment was like at a 10, I think, and you said, give me 30 minutes, I just want to decompress.
Yeah.
There was someone who was, going through a suicidal situation. And I realized that I was in a good space where I have found someone who can help me. So here I'm talking to us now in terms of solutioning. Wherever you are, in the space of life, wherever you are, there is people that can help you. Bonini can help you. If you are finding yourself in some of these issues, that's number one. Number two, in that moment, I then realized I'm in a better space here because I'm not thinking suicide. Here's someone else who is thinking, flip, this is the end. And by the way, one of my half brothers took his own life. So I know the pains of suicide in a family.
The aftermath of it.
And he's got 2 kids and the wife, and it's just a mess.
It is.
Right? And normally people that take their lives, they don't leave stuff sorted. There's no life policy, there's no money in the bank account. So now all of us are now needing to, not need, but have to help.
Even those that do have those things, it becomes void.
And
because it's
there
suicide.
you go.
Yeah.
Right. So I want us to go into solution mode.
Yeah.
And I know that there is no one solution for everybody. And I want to start off by this, by putting up a disclaimer. If any of these issues have been your issues, seek help.
Yeah.
That's number one. Seek professional help. And find your Bonini. And we are going to have Bonini's details in the link here if you are wanting to go through and see her, the practice, and get you sorted. That's my goal. Remember, intentional.
Yeah.
But Bonini, maybe let's start to talk about a person who is not seeing any of these things coming up. Should they be coming to see a Bonini?
If you're in property investment, at some point or the other, you have had to evict someone. And I know, my friends, it is a painful exercise. But I'm here to tell you that for the last couple of years, I've been using a company that is called Expello. Expello, basically what they do is that you pay them a monthly fee. And over and above that, whenever you get a delinquent tenant, they will come and evict that individual free of charge, because obviously you've been paying, right? And over and above that, you don't have to do anything. But guess what? I have managed to organize a good price for you. And the link here that you're seeing, which is called expello.link./TJ Tribe, gets you a great discount from Expello. So my friends, don't be caught with your pants down on your tenant. Just Expello them with Expello. It is TJ. Let's go back to the video.
Can I ask us to pause on that and then perhaps just address the point that you've just raised earlier,
Sure.
which is a good point, because I like the way you're presenting and saying, find your Bonini, right? And I like the fact that you kept on referring to saying you've seen a GP, you then saw your Bonini, right?
Yeah.
What is the difference between a Bonini and a GP
Right.
and a psychologist?
Right.
It's important for us to clarify that, because I am not of the feeling that I should start with a disclaimer that I'm not a doctor. The doctors are not the be-all and end-all of life.
Sure.
Right? They get that knowledge from somewhere. That knowledge is already existing. They just happen to study it and then package it in their medical practitioners.
Right.
There are other things that a nutritionist will do a sterling job of that a GP will not do. Right?
Yes.
There are other things that a wellness expert like myself, who deals with stress and mental health issues, and here we're talking entry-level mental health issues, that I'll be able to help with better than a psychologist, right? And let me explain then and come to the part, because I think then we're addressing the solution part, is a psychologist is talk therapy, right?
Yeah.
It's talk therapy or prescription of medication. Talk therapy, they talk you through the problem, they give it a title, and then that's what soothes you.
Right.
I have anxiety, I'm on antidepressants. Then you sit in that bubble, and that's how you navigate life. The difference between what we do and what they do, which is then what we call life coaches, we're popularly known as life coaches, and psychologists, is that we don't talk about the problem as much. Right. You highlighted that and you say, I didn't even need to know your problem.
Sure.
It will come through and we'll identify it and deal with it. You need to do body work. I just took you through 3 facets in which we process information and how the body, mind, and intellect processes information, which is the body, the mind, and the intellect. The body keeps a score of everything that you are intellectually thinking of. The body keeps a score of everything that you're feeling,
right? Which
is the mind. So if I'm just here in the intellect, it means then I'm soothing this part, it's making sense of it, but then there are parts of your neurological parts that are still processing information from what the body has experienced. You're coming in with new information. New information sits on the peripheral. There is no single information that becomes a habit that is born out of just you being given the information intellectually.
Right.
There has to be action in order for the information then to be reinforced inside of you. And this is where the body comes in.
Right.
This is why we do body movements, we walk up and down, we do breath work, we expose the body to different elements, cold, hot, etc. Because then that helps it to say, hello, this is different. What am I doing now? Because emotions are energy.
Right.
Yes.
So one of the solutions that I was not happy to go and do, like the doctor gives you a little bit of some tablets and you read some of these tablets and like, no, I'm not taking this.
Yeah.
So Bonini says to me, so let me give you a background here, right? My grandmother had a house, a government house, and we had an outside toilet. And that was my grandmother's house. And that was the posh at the time. I grew up in the Babs with my foster parents. We had an inside bathing room, 2 of them, and we had a geyser. From the time I could remember, I've always bathed lukewarm or hot water. I begin to work and I'm in Johannesburg, so I look for a place like that. I get into my 2-bed, 2-bath, I got a geyser and I'm bathing nice warm water. I'm in trouble. My body is shutting down.
It's showing you flames.
This lady here says to me, after you do this and this, and when you are bathing, do you bath with warm water? I'm like, yeah. In my head, I was like, who doesn't? and then she says to me, on the extreme, just take the cold water onto the extreme. And I'm like, whilst you're taking a bath? She says, yeah. So your shower, just take it. I'm like, no, this reminds me of poverty.
Right.
I am not going to do this. But sometimes when you are down and out, you will try almost anything. So I did practice it and it changed how my body was reacting. So I'm thankful that, I've got people like you in my space that are able to help me with this. So Bonini, you have given a number of solutions already, right? We were saying that let's talk about the solutions. Other than how you can practically help, I see you got many products here. Are there anything that other people can take?
Yes.
And what is it for?
Yes. So beyond the physical things that we expose the body to, right, which is the cold exposure, as TJ has just shared with you, everything starts with the gut, right? Any treatment that you're going to do always starts with the gut. And why is that important? Because like we've just shared, we said when your body is going through continuous stress, or even just stress, which is fight or flight, you're running away because there's a dog chasing you, or you're about to get into an accident, the body shuts down certain processes. And one of the processes that it shuts down is your digestive process. There isn't a single person on this earth who is saying, I was being chased down by a dog and then I decided that I'm hungry. That doesn't happen. So that's why then you often won't feel hungry when you are under stress, when you're working. And then when you hit that slump, that's when you remember, hypo, I haven't eaten, hypo, I am thirsty. So it's your body indicating that it hasn't been exposed to nutrition over a long time, or you were under stress. So we have to start then with dealing with the gut. So we store this product, Raw Biotics Gut Correct, here at our practice. And the reason why we store this, and I mean, this is sold everywhere, but we store it for our clients that come to us because there is what you call a gut-brain axis. So your gut, remember, is connected to your digestive tract. So your gut is the one that stores the microbiomes that helps your body to build your immunity, to strengthen and boost your immunity. So when you're not eating, right, and not eating well, and not eating the right foods, the gut is the one that gets impaired. Therefore, your immune system gets impaired or becomes fragile. So when you take something like this, you're going to help your body now to start building those healthy microbiomes. So what are those? These are, it's the good bacteria that your body produces. This good bacteria is the one that is going to eat the bad bacteria when you have an illness. One of the things that you will see when you continuously exposing yourself to stress, which ends up being chronic stress, is, as I said, you have diarrhea, you start have flu symptoms because your immune system is starting to be impaired. We go to our doctors and then they give us antibiotics. Those antibiotics then erode or clean out all the bacteria in your gut, the good and the bad bacteria. So you end up basically then with a porous gut that doesn't have the good bacteria to defend the body when it's under attack. So that's why then you will have flu symptoms, you'll be sick, you have diarrhea, you have bloating, which is IBS, you have constipation, etc. Or sometimes when you are sick, you get sick for long period. So then let's talk about the gut and brain connection and why we stock this particular line of Raw Biotics. Is because once your gut is impaired, your brain doesn't function as well. You end up having what is called brain fog. You become very heavy here. You have those headaches that are around here, and your thinking is not as creative. It's about survival. So your brain then is processing everything from the survival mode. Your amygdala is always kicking in, which is then around your fear and worry. Your kidneys become a problem. This is why then you start experiencing lower back issues, because then adrenal fatigue starts kicking in. So it ends up then with burnout. So this is where you start. This is what you get. And you can get it anywhere, but then you can also order it from us directly here. We can courier to you anywhere in South Africa. So in case you've forgotten it when you went to the shop. Then the other things that we do have is our CBD line. So within our CBD line, we deal with different aspects of how then stress affects the body. We spoke about at length here how then you start monitoring your energy, right? You start having your energy slump between 11 and 2 o'clock. Then what do we have for that? As opposed to you taking your Monster or your Red Bull, which have high caffeine as well sugar, the sugar damages your gut health, and it's also what contributes immensely. I mean, there are studies that are done that sugar is the biggest contributors toward cancer, right? Because cancer feeds on sugar. And sugar gives you a false sense of energy. It gives you that peak, that steep peak of energy, and you get excited, and then energy slump. then you become a horrible person to live with, because when that energy is down, then you are moody. You are horrible to live with. You're irritable. So we then recommend you take then our CB line, which is energy. And energy is made out of vitamin B12, which gives you energy. So we have these, this is also quite popular where people go and get those injections, the shots, B12 shots.
Right.
Because they have energy issues. We've got that. We also have what is called cordyceps. Cordyceps is a type of mushroom. It's a wild mushroom. And maca is CBD. So
Right.
I want to talk about maca because we started our conversation by talking about high performers. High performance and performance anxiety go together. So this performance anxiety will contribute to both males and females when it comes to intimate stuff.
Right.
So when you take maca, it's going to support you with that.
Okay.
Whereas your Red Bulls and your Monsters, they don't, because it's sugar, and actually they affect your manhood.
Right.
So here we've got nutrients that help you to boost the body using natural medicine, which is what we call plant medicine, right?
Yeah.
So this is how we deal with energy using natural products that do not have negative side effects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it won't bring a long last.
There's no high here.
No, I mean if you're wanting to, like if you lost
Your mojo.
you lost your loved one a long time ago. This won't bring them back now.
Lost, the person is passed away.
The person is gone already.
No, this is not juju. This will not bring the last. No.
It won't.
It just helps with, for example, with females, it will help you then to feel, it will help with libido.
Right.
Yes. So just that excitement will come back, etc. So it's not necessarily to say, oh, all of a sudden then you feel like somebody you left 5 years ago. No.
Yeah.
It's just that energy, the mood.
I'm sorry. Guys,
And then you start producing the right hormones to support you to do that.
with the current person that you've got.
Yes.
I got it. Okay.
Yes.
I was just checking.
Yes. No.
Right.
Then we spoke about sleeplessness,
Yeah.
right? Restlessness, a racing mind. We have calm. This is also a CBD product. So our CBD products do not have a psychedelic effect, right? You will
Okay.
not get high from this range. So, and these are infusions, right? What is an infusion is when it's mixed with other things.
Right.
So we have CBD, we have vanilla, we have reishi. It's also a mushroom, right?
Okay.
So this helps you to slow down cortisol. We've spoken
Right.
at length about cortisol.
Yeah.
Cortisol is not the enemy, but it's us exposing ourselves to circumstances that make us start thinking using our sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight.
Okay.
Right, so this you can take anytime, right? But then if you're somebody who's really struggling with sleep, then rather take it in the afternoon so that you start winding down.
So, Bonini, the range here that we talk about, this is energy, there's calm, and now we're going on to the mind.
To the mind, yeah.
If one is to buy these products, so by the way, friends, you're going to get all of these links on where you can buy them from Bonini. Or if you are seeing, you can literally walk to another shop where you can get them.
Now you know better.
You know better, yes. Our idea here is never to, I always say to people, whoever that I bring up here, it's never to promote that individual, but it's for us to be educated.
Yeah.
Or for us to be aware.
Yeah.
But if you don't know where to find it, bingo, you've got it here.
Yeah.
So just do the right thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, whilst we are talking about that, how will I know how much to take?
Every unit
okay.
you buy comes with this, and in there's instructions on how to take it.
Right.
So these are single shots, right? But there is a way in which we suggest to our clients on how to take them. You can take a cap size of that,
Yeah.
so then you end up with 3 dosages out of that one shot.
Right.
Yes, so this is to ease you into it. I mean, I gave one calm
Yeah.
to a delegate. So we also do workplace solutions, wellness solutions. For
Right.
example, a company will call us if their staff has been through a traumatic period,
Yes.
right? So what we often do then, when we understand the brief in terms of what they've done, then part of the goodie bag will have some of those products.
So,
Right.
so at the Joe Austin church recently, I heard that there was some gun shooting and things like
Yes.
that. So that's a traumatic.
Yes.
So would go through. Would you call it a rejuvenation.
It's a debriefing.
It's a debriefing so that they can go through that trauma.
Yes.
We recently had a school where there was a child that drowned.
Correct.
So that kind of work.
That kind of work.
Okay.
Because then what ends up happening, we're all different in the workspace, right?
Sure.
There will be someone who will sit on the wasteful thoughts and negative thought patterns of processing this information. Every time that they come into this, we talk about it, but we talk about it into these two aspects, right?
Right.
Why did they have to come here? Like, this was so, we're continuously talking about it, so we end up then taking on that energy. The higher the ratio of what of the issue being talked about negatively is what you end up embodying in the office. So with this particular organization, there was an incident of a supplier who came and threatened the staff, right? So the lady who works at the forefront, who's the one who receives the visitors, was the one who was hit the most, right? Because of that bullying that went in and etc. So the owner of the business is somebody who actually started working with us even during COVID. Right. And he's like, I know exactly what to do, Bonini. You need to come and help my people. Because we are now not focusing. We are now jittering. We're now scared. If a person sees a car that's been following them for a while, they start thinking otherwise, And it's not their issue. It's a work issue. And I want them to separate that. It shouldn't be a personal issue. So in this particular case, we gave her calm. She wasn't sleeping, right? Because remember, incidents that happen, they meet you where you are. If I'm already a wounded person, I'm shattered.
I remember when I was working at the bank back in the days. I worked for Standard Bank, and we were doing cash depots. We're planting different cash depots in different places. So the one site that the bank bought, it was across a cemetery. So we had just recently installed an elevator. And there was when the elevator was being installed, it fell. And when it fell, there was a guy who was hurt. And then he went home. And when he went home, he never came back. So now the staff have now moved in here. This is like 2009, 2010. And the elevator malfunctioned. So it was going up and down, up and down. And somebody said, guys, do you actually know that there was a guy who died here? All right? And with that became the narrative that Jabu died, and he's the ghost, and he got buried across the road.
Oh dear Lord. Oh dear Lord. So do you see now how that escalates into and morphs into something else? So that is disturbing, and the mind starts then hurling anything that is inside of your hippocampus, which is your memory bank, that resembles that thought, right? And now you are reliving the feeling of past traumas. Right.
There you go, my friend.
As small as that in the recent incident may be, you end up now reliving the accumulation of all memories that resemble this one.
Amazing stuff. My friends, this is it. I hate to end it here. I think there is more, you can see that. And I want to say that, and I want to close off on a very serious note. You know me, I try to be an uncle at some days. and this is really important for me because it plays out into many aspects. Number one, you're the breadwinner in your family. So if you're not looking after yourself and you've got some of these things already looming up, seek help. Number two, your entire family and the next generation is dependent on you. And if you're not helping yourself, you are letting down the immediate generation that you've got, which is your kids, and the next generation that is yet to come. And everything else that you're doing right now, it's actually nothing. All right? So, as I close off, I want to say to you, I'm going to give Bonini a last comment. But as I close off, the plane is landing. If you have to remember anything, be intentional about looking for help. Don't go and look for help for the business, a good lawyer, a good attorney, a good accountant, but you're forgetting yourself. And this video here is all about that. And by the way, we always allow you to give in comments. And if there's a specific topic that you'd like Bonini to speak about, she's not too far away from me, so we can maybe dive into specific topics. But I want you guys to seek help. And if that help is going to come from Bonini, we're going to put in her details in the descriptions, and you can literally jump on and have the conversation with her, and she will help you like she has helped me in many ways.
And continues to indirectly through the wife.
100%. Right. So I'm gonna leave it there, Bonini. Your last comments to the guys who are doing business out there, or not even doing business, who are going through some of these things. What's your closing comment?
So my closing comment is you have an opportunity to work with us in 5 ways.
Right.
The first way is one-on-one, right, which is what TJ does. The second way is we have events.
I'm old school.
Yes.
So.
The second way is through events. So we have a very exclusive event that we host twice in a year. The first, it's called the Men's Day series. We started this last year when we had our Men's Day, because we had, as you started the conversation, we have a lot of men that are crying out for help.
Right.
And they need places that are private and delicate, and they can help them to deal with the issues without being too intrusive.
Right.
And the sort of modalities that we use allow them to do that. So the third way in which you can work with us is through our retreat. We've just come back from our silent annual retreat, which we host in Machalis. And you will catch that one again next year from the 14th to the 16th of February 2025. We host that once a year. The second retreat is a spring retreat, which happens in September, which is a burnout retreat. And that's where we're dealing then with the effects of stress. The silent retreat has its own tribe and its own type of person. So if you're new to well-being and wellness, perhaps the silent retreat is a bit too much for you, it's a bit too elevated, it's a bit too deep and too intimate, then the burnout retreat that comes in September is the one that you should consider and look out for on Instagram. That's where we post our stuff, and I'm very much active on LinkedIn as well. Then the fourth way in which you can work with us is through workplace wellness solutions. We have 4 pillars in which we can do work with you in your workplaces, in your respective workplaces. We do what is called fun interaction to activate creativity. We have what is called nutrition-based masterclasses to help your staff or yourself to understand how food affects your mental health.
Right.
We also have mental stuff where we're literally then letting go, letting things be. How do we declutter? How do I release this mental tension that I feel around my forehead? Then we have the emotional release. So the emotional release happens as interactive breath sessions, for example. So when your debriefing sessions will fall under that category. Then we also have a product that we've just developed, we developed last year for organizations that really now want to go all the way. It's a 12-month program where we run with your company and your staff. It's called Organizational Culture Coaching model. And in this model, over the 4 quarters in a year, we have interventions that address the 4 aspects of well-being: fun, nutrition, emotional, and mental.
Amazing.
So we have a program that's there because well-being, in closing, well-being is not a once-off thing.
Right.
Everything that you're going through now didn't happen overnight.
It's like taking a bath.
Yes, it's a layered approach. So even your good traits, right? Even your skill sets, they were not born overnight. It's progressive.
Right.
Your high blood pressure didn't just start randomly out of nowhere. There were heart palpitations, there was size, there was this. So everything is progressive, and well-being in the workplaces right now is the biggest commodity, and workplaces are investing heavily in it because it's affecting productivity, it's affecting creativity, it's affecting focus, it's affecting agility. We're talking here change management. As we said, you can try and change them up here, but the behaviors will still be the same.
Yeah.
Because you haven't changed the body. So that's where our trump card comes in as Bonini Co. We deal with not only the coaching part of the intellect, but we bring about culture change. We bring about culture change because of the modalities that we bring in that helps the person to embody a different sense of who they are and to see things from the black to the gray to the white.
Boom! You heard it, my friends, and that was Bonini on this show. Let us know in the comments any questions, any comments. But above that, don't forget to share. And boom, boom. We will see you.
Is
on
that
the
how
next.
we exit? Boom, boom.
Yeah.
Oh, boom, boom. Thank you so much.
Boom, boom. We'll see you on the next video. All right, Bonini.
Thank you. I hope that was helpful.
It was.